Well, it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speakers. As an introduction, many of you know my mother. And my mother was a Holocaust survivor. She survived the first real incident that they had besides normal wear and tear and being picked on, except in schools, etc. She was 12 years old at the Kristallnacht in November of 1938 when the Nazis went through all the towns and basically destroyed property, breaking the glass in all the Jewish businesses and looting their houses. She quickly was on what's called kinder transport. And last year, my sister has much stuff and she didn't show me anything. My mother never really showed it to me when I was growing up. I knew about the Holocaust. I lived in a community with many people who were Holocaust survivors. But this was her car. This is what she had to travel with. There's her name, and we have another the other pictures too. Yeah, just slide over. This, there we go. Yeah. So there she was. And this is just a piece of paper hanging. The actual card, we don't have the whole picture, right? The whole card. You didn't put that one, did you? No. Okay. It's basically a card about this big and a long strip of paper, which is the equivalent of a visa. So when I saw it, I flipped out. I wanted to bring it here because I wanted to show it to everybody who knew my mom here. And but this was it, and it shows her car. There she is in August of 1940. And then she's going to be going to the United States with this car. So today, I'm pleased to announce the speakers are Barbara Lesh McCaffrey, who I've known for many years, who is the professor emeritus at Sonoma State University's interdisciplinary program, the Hutchins School of Liberal Studies. She also taught in the University Lecture Series on the Holocaust and Genocide, and is the current president of the Alliance of the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide. She received a PhD from the University of Wisconsin in Madison, and her current research explores the interactions of family, identity, religious affiliations, and gender in the memoirs of hidden children, as well as the experience of second and third generation survivors of the Holocaust and other genocide. Now also with her is Arlene Thomas, who I believe is the president of Chair of the Education Committee. Who will also have something to say. So without further ado, Barbara, why don't you come up?
Are we going to sing, President Bill?
No. I made a command decision that I thought this was a more serious subject and decided to forego the singing. Typically, we welcome our singers with our speakers with a song, but
I will consider myself introduced with musical accompaniment. Thank you to Terry for inviting us to speak with you today, and to my friend Louis Hopper for his gracious introduction. I'm going to be presenting a lot of information, but I really would welcome any questions you have as we go along, and hopefully there'll be a few minutes at the end for some discussion. I wanted to cover a little bit about how the Alliance started, because it's got its roots in Sonoma County, and I'm going to be naming names of people in our community because I have a feeling some of you may have known them, or some of you still know them. Prior to 1983, there was an annual Warsaw Ghetto Uprising Remembrance event that was coordinated in Petaluma, which then grew into the county-wide Yom HaShoah commemoration. And this year's commemoration was just a few days ago. The group included Robert Harris, Simon Jaffe, Irv Newman, and Joe Rappaport. At the Yom HaShoah event, which was held at Sonoma State University in 1983, the university president, Peter Diamandopoulos, was the keynote speaker. After the event, he challenged that year's coordinator, Robert Harris, to do more than just memorialize the Holocaust annually at an event. And part of the justification for founding a group was also training teachers. Sonoma State was an ideal place for a permanent program about the Holocaust. Professor John Steiner, many of you may have known him, a Holocaust survivor and professor of sociology, had begun to teach classes that dealt with issues related to the Holocaust. In addition, Professor Paul Benko, a Holocaust survivor, was a faculty member in the biology department, and Professor George Jackson, a liberator, was a faculty member in the psychology department. In the spring of 1983, Harris asked a number of people, and what I've learned since I wasn't there at the time is that he would ask and you couldn't resist. I think some of you have developed these skills as well in generating those contributions of $20 or $40 that seem to be flying off people's tables. He asked a number of people, including Professor Benko, Virgil Miller, Joel Newberg, and Sylvia Suker, to assist him in responding to the president's challenge. When the alliance formed, it also included ministers, rabbis, Sonoma State faculty, community members, and another local survivor, Walter Kuttner. Thus began a distinguished university-community partnership that resulted in the formation of the Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust. An initial lecture series on the Holocaust in 1984, and the creation of the Center for the Study of the Holocaust at Sonoma State in 1987. I'll get this technology yet. The Alliance was formed in 1983 on behalf of the victims and survivors of the Holocaust as a forum where they could tell their stories so others could learn from their experiences. The founding intent behind the collaborative effort between the community, survivors, and members of the university faculty was to inform the world by sharing the facts so they would never be forgotten. A highly successful annual lecture series on the Holocaust and genocide was created in 1984, and it was the first university-community partnership at the university. The board had community members, faculty, students, and the university covered the cost of the faculty's salaries to coordinate the series and to meet with the students as part of a university course. And the Alliance raised the money to bring the guest speakers. And we have had speakers from throughout the United States and occasionally international. 15 academic disciplines at the university have been involved in research and ongoing scholarship. In 2010, the collaborative effort's name was changed to the Alliance for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide to reflect its revised mission and educational commitment to include all affected by genocide. The Center for the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide was formally constituted in 1987 under the leadership of Professor Steiner for the purpose of providing education about the origins, nature, and consequences of the Holocaust. In recent years, the center has broadened and expanded its focus to include the study of issues surrounding other historical and modern genocides. In the spring lecture series offered to students, the lectures are also open to everyone in our community. Speakers and nationally renowned scholars present weekly lectures, and the center also offers teacher training seminars, commemorative events, and actively collects and catalogs relevant books, videos, and descriptive materials, as well as presenting artistic and historical exhibits. Through such initiatives, the center offers access to Holocaust and genocide topics across a broad range of thematic and disciplinary approaches. And I should say, I'm really very proud that it's here in Sonoma County. The work we do really reaches a huge portion of our community, and it's a major effort for a small community. The only other one really is a major Holocaust center in San Francisco. And I think we do an exemplary job in all of the ways in which we reach out to the community. Members of the Alliance work closely with the Center in suggesting topics and speakers for the lecture series, publicizing the series in the community, and raising funds for honoraria, exhibits, and logistical support. The current director of the center is Dr. Myrna Goodman, an emerita professor of sociology. And if you go to our website, and I'm sorry there isn't good internet access because I would have been happy to have some little lively video clips, much more lively than my speaking. But all of the lectures are videotaped and are then available at the end of the semester as YouTube videos. So if you wanted to hear a speaker from 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago, that's available, and that's also available to teachers to use in their classrooms. And we've just completed digitizing 30 years of those videos, and they're now all up and available, which is very exciting and took a lot of creativity and many false starts. The theme of this year's series, and I think there are copies of the flyer on most of the tables, is Rescuers and Survivors. The lectures are on Tuesday from 4 to 6 in Warren Auditorium, Ives Hall. There are several lectures remaining in the series, and each of you would be most welcome to attend, as well as join us for a no-host dinner afterward with our guest speakers. On Tuesday, April 25th, Professor David McEwen of the Political Science Department at Sonoma State will be discussing the genocide in Syria. And certainly this is a topic of very timely importance. On Tuesday, May 1st, UCLA Professor Benjamin Madley will be speaking on the American genocide based on his award-winning book, An American Genocide, the United States and the California Indian Catastrophe, 1846 to 1873, and he talks about what happened on the land beneath our feet. And then the final lecture in the series is on May 8th with Her Excellency Mathilde Mukadabana, the Rwandan ambassador to the United States. She will be joined by Simon Mutagahora, who is a genocide survivor and an amazing young man, and his cousin, Ndahiro Bazimaya, a genocide descendant, to discuss the 1994 genocide against the Tutsis and the subsequent amazing recovery of the Republic of Rwanda. Of all the lectures last year, this is the one that the students felt was absolutely outstanding and touched them the most, particularly because the survivors and descendants who were speaking to them were very close to their own age. And I think that made a huge difference. All of these lectures are free and open to the public. They're open to local students as well, and teachers can also bring a class if they let us know in advance. I want to talk briefly about some other things that exist as part of the university's commitment to Holocaust and genocide education. And there's a little brochure, and there are copies on the table that we have as you leave, with information about the Memorial Grove as well. Dedicated on March 29, 2009, the Erna and Arthur Somm Holocaust and Genocide Memorial Grove at the university was created to honor both survivors and victims of the Holocaust and genocides committed against Native Americans, Armenians, Cambodians, Bosnians, Rwandans, and Darfurians. The monument also recognizes educators, scholars, and activists working for global awareness, tolerance, and human rights. And I think that falls right into a lot of what Rotary is involved in. The project was launched by a few people with a budget of hope and promise through the joint efforts of the University's School of Social Sciences, the Center, the Alliance, and strong support and generosity from both community and business members who partnered to affirm the phrase, never again. Since the site was dedicated, there have been 3 editions. In 2012, a circle of trees was added to the grove by Helena Foster, a Bay Area Holocaust survivor from Poland, who was a teenager when she lost her family during World War II. She underwrote the planting of a circle of 18 trees native to the area of her hometown of Cieszyn, Poland, that includes maples, dogwoods, magnolia, and linden. And in Hebrew, some of you may know, 18 is equivalent to life, chai. So it has an added significance. In addition, there's an Anne Frank tree grown from a sapling of a horse chestnut tree that once gave Anne Frank hope as she hid from the Nazis in Amsterdam. It was dedicated on April 14, 2013. To further its educational goals, the Anne Frank Center USA, together with the Anne Frank House in Amsterdam, donated 11 saplings from that tree to sites across the country. The Sonoma State campus was the first of the 11 locations nationwide to receive a sapling taken from that mature aging tree that resided behind the annex where Frank and her family and friends spent 2 years in hiding. The 150-year-old tree was battling a lethal fungus when it was felled in a windstorm in 2010. And we feel very, very lucky to have that sapling. In addition, in 2013, a memorial rock bench was dedicated to the memory of Pacific War victims from 1931 to 1945. And the driving force behind that was Jean B. Chan, a professor in the mathematics department at Sonoma State. The grove provides a setting for contemplation and remembrance. Hundreds of bricks display the messages of love, honor, and hope, and we hope that all of you will have opportunities to visit it. And it's right on the edge of the lakes. I want to just focus briefly on the mission of the Alliance. It is to honor the experience and preserve the memory of the innocent victims, survivors, and rescuers impacted by the tragedy of genocide, and to support Holocaust and genocide education in conjunction with the center. And my colleague Arlene will talk a bit about our educational efforts. Our work is to attract, collaborate, and coordinate with scholars, survivors, and experts, outreach to our community, schools, and survivor groups, and seeking funding and support methods to preserve memory. And our vision is to inspire a never-again moral stance that focuses on our common humanity and to promote personal action and proactive prevention awareness of the causes of intolerance, genocide, and denial. Every year, members of the Board of the Alliance support events commemorating the Holocaust and genocide, including the 2 annual Yom HaShoah commemorations in Sonoma County, which took place this past week, the commemoration of the Armenian genocide in conjunction with our sister organization, the Armenians of the North Bay, and the annual commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda in conjunction with our sister organization, the Friends of Rwanda Association. We also participate in events such as Sivka Sunday, sponsored by the Jewish Community Center of Sonoma County. Every year we also produce a flyer to the upcoming lecture series and an annual report, and copies are on all the tables. Should you want to receive next year's report and information about the lecture series for the spring, please make sure to add your name to our mailing list. It's on the first table as you leave, with a very distinctive tablecloth from Rwanda. And we ask that you print so we have a good chance of making sure we actually have your email address correct. We'd also like to invite you to like our Facebook page, where we have information in much more detail about upcoming lectures and events, and also people in our community who are Holocaust and genocide survivors and descendants. I'd like to now turn the podium over to my colleague Arlene Thomas, who'll be sharing information about the work of our Education Committee. Before doing so, I'd like to express my gratitude to the members of the Sebastopol Sunrise Rotary Club for inviting us to speak with you today. This has not happened a lot in our history, and we're very, very grateful. Yeah?
Well, you know what, we need Mike.
Oh, you're going to use them?
Yeah, we're gonna mic you, hold on.
It's gonna have to be closer to it, though.
Technology is wonderful when it works.
That's our motto. Or you would.
We're 60.
Yeah.
Are you on?
We're 60.
Am I okay? Well, it's really great to be here this morning. Thank you so much. I'm the chair of the Education Committee, and I just want to share about the work that we've been doing. In January of 2015, the Alliance Education Committee expanded its longstanding mission of supporting Holocaust and genocide education in conjunction with the Center of the Study of the Holocaust and Genocide at SSU, to include coordinating classroom presentations by Holocaust and genocide survivors and their descendants. In January of 2016, we sent a letter to the principals of all the public and private middle and high schools in Sonoma County. I know.
Don't look at me.
Our intent was to familiarize them with the resources available to teachers, the Sonoma State Lecture Series schedule, and how to access the archives of prior lectures through YouTube, and coordinate presentations in their classrooms and assemblies. We continued that tradition in 2017 and 18. In 2016, we reached 2,350 students and adults. 2017, 3,000 students and adults, and as of yesterday, I heard we've reached 2,000 students and adults, and we have more presentations to give. These presentations are an integral part of our work, outreach to community, schools, and survivor groups. Our speakers are made up of a group of Holocaust survivors, second-generation Holocaust survivor descendants, and a third-generation Armenian genocide survivor descendant. They provide a personal account of the impact of intolerance. Hopefully, the audience will examine how that relates to their own experiences and choices made in the face of bullying or insensitivity to the inhumanity of others. They remember, so we don't forget. We currently have a group of 11 presenters, in addition to 2 of our second-generation Holocaust survivor descendants, who are currently crafting their biographies with 2 Sonoma State student interns. We are a group of dedicated volunteers that also include advocates. An Alliance advocate is a volunteer that goes out with the speaker. We sometimes drive them because some of our presenters are 96 years old.
They're right behind you.
Terrific. We offer them snacks, water, tissues, and we also introduce them to the audience they're speaking to. This year we have also implemented a follow-up teacher survey, and Barbara's done a great job of that. It's on computer. Having been a teacher myself, it takes 5 to 7 minutes, and then we get the information we need, which is so invaluable with regard to our speakers and how we can best meet their needs. Personally, I have had the great honor of accompanying many speakers as an Alliance advocate. I am always in awe of the respect and attention that is given to our presenters. Many of these interactions with students and speakers have been remarkable, and I'd like to share a couple of examples. So we have Al and Suzanne Batsdorf, who are 96 years old. Al left Germany on the Kindertransport in 1938. They have known each other since they were 11 years old. She's the only woman he's ever gone out with, and they've been married 74 years. Their story is about survival, courage, and love. Suzanne reads a poem during her presentation, which is about a family that she was a nanny for, 3 children and the parents. And they were all murdered by the Nazis. When she reads this poem, you look at the students and the teachers and they have tears in their eyes. So last week I was with them at Pioneer High School. Actually, I think this is Roseland Collegiate Prep High School. After the presentation, students just swarm around them and want to have their picture taken with them. It's just why we do what we do. The other example I'd like to give is Christine Davidian. This is Gloria Glickman giving her presentation. Christine is a third-generation Armenian descendant survivor, and she spoke at Pioneer High School last year during their Survival Series week. After her presentation, a Muslim student came up to her and apologized for what the Turks had done to the Armenians. So this is just a small sample of the impact that these lectures have on the students. Students have brought plants, they've donated money to the Alliance. As I've said, they want their pictures taken with the speakers. They've written the most incredible thank you letters you've ever seen. One was written in German to express their thanks because the speaker was born in Germany. Another did some artwork that was just, it could be in a museum. So we're really reaching these kids. The universal message that is conveyed is how touched they were by the stories and what a life-changing experience it was for them. Our hope is that it will strengthen their resolve to resist bullying and treating others as less than human. I am so grateful to be a member of this community, Sebastopol, and most importantly, the Alliance Education Committee and the Alliance, and to share with you the positive and lasting impact we have with regard to countering acts of intolerance in Sonoma County. Thank you.
We're happy to answer any questions you might have. And it's okay if there are none, but Lou?
In terms of your presenters, are they all educators that you have to go out in the classrooms?
Actually, no. Most of them are not. Gloria is actually a retired teacher, but the majority are just members of the community, and we work, I'd say one-on-one, but it's more three-on-one. We usually have 2 committee members, and our student interns have been helping with the technical aspects. We launched one speaker last week who was telling the story of her father's escape from Greece. And it's quite an elaborate journey because he goes from Greece to Turkey to Jerusalem, and the family ends up in Rhodesia. And then she and her siblings decided to trace her family's journey from Greece to Treblinka. And our student intern was invaluable in getting maps, which we inserted throughout her narrative, so that people could actually see the distances, but also the geography, because I think our students many of us are geographically illiterate. So that really helps. And so we really work with them as they craft their stories.
She's a retired doctor.
Yeah.
When you have speaking events where Holocaust survivors are present, what's the most common question asked of them?
I'll give you the winner. Finally, I'll give it to you.
That's an interesting question.
They often get real, I mean, that's really,
I think they will ask specifics about how old were you?
yeah.
And they may ask about how they feel about being now in the United States. And with a little trepidation, how do they see what's going on in this country now? I mean, that's an undercurrent, and we've got to be particularly careful when we are in the schools of not engaging in conversations that have political content. So we have to get to it kind of sideways, if you will. But that really does percolate, and certainly the anti-immigrant threads that are part of the national discourse, the anti-Semitic threads that were part of what happened, and the racist threads that are part of what's been happening, have resonance. And we try to get to it as gently as we can so that they can see how what happened in the 30s relates to their lives now.
They also really are interested in personal information, like, Alan, Suzanne, what did you do on your first date? I mean, and when did you get back together in the United States? Because it's such an intimate story that they're sharing, and those are the questions a lot of the kids want to ask too.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, how do you find the speakers, or like, do they contact you, or do you find them? Like, how do you
We've
know?
been working at it for a number of years. We table at a number of events. So we're at all of the Showa commemorations. We're at Simca Sunday. We have a mailing list, and we try to identify who's a survivor and who's second generation, and reach out to them. And then sometimes we have a special event. In 2006, we did an event honoring all the Holocaust survivors in the county. And when we started the process, we knew 14. By the day of the event, we'd identify 54. And I think for us, the great challenge now is identifying all the Holocaust descendants, because our Holocaust survivors are getting older, and a number of them are no longer able to speak in the schools. And so what we're really wanting to do is make sure we continue this work.
You know, this seems really important and appropriate right now. There's just a national poll maybe by Pew who found that a large number of Americans don't know what Auschwitz was. And I guess the whole experience is beginning to fade from American consciousness. So what you're doing is really valuable.
Thank you. Thank you.
Before you go, Louis, would you come up here, please? The talk today was about Holocaust survivors. And you may or may not know, if you're newer to the club, that Louis' mom used to come and visit every year.
And didn't sit with me. She sat that day with Joe.
But she would come out here and attend our meetings every year. She's no longer as healthy as she was and unable to join us like she did before. But I would like to have her become...
Oh, she'll be thrilled.
an honorary member of our club.
We'll be at the table as the meeting ends. If you've got more questions, we can have time to get to them.
So we also, I could use your assistance for a little bit. We also have a raffle. So we need to have somebody pick a ticket. We don't have a deck of cards today, but we have a great raffle prize, chocolate. And the winning number is?
Ends in 549.
And way clean joke of the day. No card. Brian Bauer.
Camel jokes.
All about oil, baby.
Camel joke.
Okay, we're in the Navy. And Ensign McLaughlin has been given the opportunity to drive the ship for once. He is so excited. It's his first occasion. So, the first thing that comes in, though, is really bad news. One of the shipmen's mother had died. Mr. McLaughlin, in his usual style, says, gets on the loudspeaker, "Now hear this. Ensign Jim, your mother is dead. That is all." And of course, he's really upset. He has to be tied up in his bed, and the captain comes up and goes, "McLaughlin, what the hell? You don't tell somebody about their mom dying just like that. You got to slow it down and kind of break it to them slow." He says, okay. Wonder of wonder, big coincidence. It turns out that another death has occurred. It's big on this ship, I don't know. So, Shipman Michael, his mother has also passed away. I guess the two were in an accident together, or maybe they suicided rather than the kids come back. But now McLaughlin has his opportunity to rectify things. He's trying to make it right. He says, "Would all shipmen stand at attention? All whose mothers are alive, please take one step forward." Shipman Michael, just a minute.
Brian Bauer, that's $20.
Make him pay.
Trails to you till weekend.
So I thought.
Trails to you, my countrymen. Trails to you till we meet All right, I need everything. I'm taking it with me. I'll be back. Oh, I have to take that with me. Right now today? Yes, right now today. Thank you. Yeah, they're kind of, the cleaning didn't test of the new light. Probably the long one has the red issue. Yeah, no, they've got the little band on there. Battery go down?
No, I just turned it off.
Test. Seems to work pretty good.
So,
Just gotta get it up here to your mouth.
the promo and stuff like that worked pretty well for the San Francisco Bay trip. We
got two of them, didn't you?
$1,500 each.
Yeah, no, I bid it up and then it was like, oh my God, somebody really wants it.
No.
Ellie and I bought some but we split it with another couple. You know, Hardy Henderson from the new club took,
That would be awesome.
I think he took 4 slots, Ellie and I took 8, and our friends Rick and Cynthia, they took 8 slots.
Excellent.
We got that all set up. That's going to be really fun.
No kidding.
As well.
There's another mic. Oh, you got it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna get the speakers out there. Maybe you can give me a hand humping that in the back of the truck. Yeah, of course. Let me do my hand.